1981, father and son vanish on hunt. 13-year forest clue stuns all. Crime mystery. A father and son vanish into Maine's endless woods, their rifles silent, their tracks erased. Was it the forest's hunger, or a darker force that swallowed them whole? In the fall of 1981, the forests of Aroostook County, Maine, hum with the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of deer. David Reed, 38, a rugged logger with hands calloused from years felling timber, loads his pickup with hunting gear. His son, Nate, 10, a wiry boy with his father's hazel eyes and a gap-toothed grin, clutches a new pocket knife, a birthday gift engraved with his initials, NR. They're headed to Blackwood Forest, a sprawling wilderness where locals hunt, log, and whisper of old dangers, bears, bogs, and things that don't leave tracks. David, a single father since his wife's death, teaches Nate the woods' ways, how to read a trail, skin a deer, survive a cold night. But this trip, meant to bond them, will become a mystery that haunts Maine for decades. David's no stranger to Blackwood. He hunts there yearly, his cabin a mile from the trailhead, stocked with canned beans and a wood stove. But 1981 is tense. A land dispute with a logging company, PineCo, has turned neighbors against him. PineCo wants Blackwood's timber. David, part of a local co-op, fights to keep it public. Threats have come. Slashed tires, a note on his truck. Back off or else. David shrugs it off, telling his friend, Sheriff Tom Carver, they're just blowing smoke. Carver, a burly man with a handlebar mustache, warns him to watch his back. Nate, overhearing, grips his knife tighter, his young mind sensing trouble. October 17, 1981, David and Nate drive to Blackwood, their pickup rattling over dirt roads. They park at the trailhead, grab their rifles, and vanish into the pines. The forest is vast, its trails winding, its silence heavy. They're due back Sunday, but Monday comes, and David's truck sits untouched. Carver organizes a search, rallying volunteers, loggers, hunters, townsfolk. They comb Blackwood, finding nothing. No tracks, no gear, no blood. A torn flannel scrap, possibly David's, snags on a thorn bush, but rain washes away its trail. Days turn to weeks, theories swirl. A bear attack, a fall into a ravine, or something worse. Nate's knife, a gift from David, is missing, presumed lost in the woods. Carver interviews David's sister, Ellen Reed, who raised Nate after their mother's death. Ellen, a schoolteacher with tired eyes, clutches a photo of Nate. David was careful, she says. He knew those woods. She mentions the land dispute, naming PineCo's boss, Victor Hale, a sharp-eyed man rumored to bully locals. Carver questions Hale, who denies involvement, claiming, David was stubborn, but I don't play dirty. Yet Hale's smirk unsettles Carver. A volunteer finds a spent rifle cartridge near the trailhead. Not David's caliber, but it's too common to trace. The search fades, the case grows cold, and Blackwood keeps its secrets. In 1994, a logger named Pete Larson stumbles on a clue that cracks the silence. Deep in Blackwood, he finds Nate's knife in a tree hollow, its blade rusted but intact, engraved with NR and, chillingly, not lost. The hollow, high in an oak, isn't natural. Someone carved it. Pete, spooked, calls Carver, now retired but haunted by the case. Carver, graying but sharp, dusts off the files. The knife's placement suggests intent, a message. Was Nate alive, leaving a sign, or did someone else plant it? The words "not lost" burn in Carver's mind. Nate, or David, defying the forest's grip. Ellen hears of the knife, her hope a fragile spark. Nate's out there, she whispers, clutching his photo. Carver isn't sure. He re-interviews. Locals, starting with PineCo's crew. A former worker, Jim Tate, hints at Hale's temper in 81. He hated David, Jim says, voice low. Said he'd handle it. Carver digs into Hale's past, finding a 1980 assault charge. Dropped quietly. The flannel scrap stored in evidence yields no DNA. 1994 tech is limited. But a faint oil stain on it, like motor oil, nags Carver. He recalls PineCo's trucks, greasy from logging. Is it a coincidence or a lead? Carver searches Blackwood again, focusing on the oak. Nearby, he finds a rusted compass, its glass cracked, engraved with Dr. David's. It's buried under leaves, missed in 81. The compass points to a ravine, its depths unseen. Carver's gut twists. Did David and Nate fall? Or were they led there? The knife's message, not lost, feels like a cry across time. As part 1 ends, a new witness steps forward. A hunter who saw a strange fire in Blackwood the night David and Nate vanished. The forest's shadows deepen, hiding a truth that's waited 13 years. A knife carved with "not lost" lies in a tree, a boy's silent plea from 1981. But what burned in Blackwood's heart that night, and who saw it flicker? The discovery of Nate Reed's knife in 1986, engraved with "not lost," pulls Sheriff Tom Carver back to Blackwood Forest, where David and Nate vanished in 1981. The Maine wilderness, with its tangled pines and cold rivers, holds secrets Carver couldn't crack. The knife, found by a teen in a hollowed oak, is a deliberate marker, its placement too precise for chance. Carver, now 52, feels the case's weight. David's flannel scrap, the strange cartridge, and the land dispute with PineCo's Victor Hale haunt him. The knife's message suggests survival, but the forest's silence screams otherwise. Was Nate alive, or is this a cruel trick? Carver meets the teen, Ben Walsh, a lanky 16-year-old who found the knife while hunting. Ben describes the oak, deep in Blackwood, near a ravine. It felt wrong, Ben says, shivering, like someone was watching. He saw a faded boot print nearby, adult-sized, but rain blurred it. Carver visits the site, the oak's hollow high and unnatural, carved with a blade. The ravine, steep and mossy, hides a creek below. Divers search it, finding nothing but rocks. Yet the compass, engraved Dr., found near the oak, points to the ravine's edge. Carver wonders, did David drop it, or was it placed to mislead? Ellen. Reed, David's sister, clings to the knife's message. Nate's telling us he's alive, she says, her voice breaking. She shares a memory. David taught Nate to carve wood, a skill the boy loved. The hollow's precision could be Nate's work, but why hide the knife? Carver re-examines David's life, focusing on the land dispute. PineCo's Victor Hale wanted Blackwood's timber. David's co-op resisted. A 1981 town hall turned ugly. Hale threatening David publicly. Carver interviews Hale again, now a wealthy retiree. Hale's cold eyes dismiss the knife. Kids play pranks, he says, but his hand twitches. Carver notices Hale's truck keys, a PineCo logo stained with oil, like the flannel's smudge. A new lead emerges. The hunter, Ray Cobb, who saw a fire in Blackwood on October 17, 1981. Ray, now 60, meets Carver at a diner, his hands scarred from logging. It was no campfire, Ray says. Big, controlled, near the ravine. Saw 2 men, one tall, one shorter, tossing stuff in. Ray didn't report it, fearing trouble. The fire's location, near the oak, chills Carver. Was it David and Nate's gear burned to erase them? Ray recalls a pickup leaving, its headlights dim, possibly PineCo's. Carver checks 1981 fire reports. None match Ray's story, suggesting a cover-up. Carver digs into PineCo's crew, finding a 1981 employee, Carl. Dunn, fired for theft. Carl, now a mechanic, admits PineCo played dirty. Hale sent us to scare David, he says, voice low. Slashed his tires, left notes. Carl denies violence, but hints at a fixer Hale hired, a man called Skinner, known for rough jobs. Skinner, real name Frank Ellis, vanished in 82. Carver tracks Ellis's record. Assault, arson, last seen in Aroostook. The fire, the oil, Skinner's shadow, it's too close to chance. Ellen gives Carver Nate's old sketchbook, filled with drawings of Blackwood. One page shows a map, crude but detailed, with an X near a ravine and the words, safe spot. Nate's handwriting matches the knife's, not lost. Carver searches the X, finding a buried tin can with a child's whistle. Nate's and a note. Dad's hurt. The ink's faded, but the urgency is raw. Was David injured or worse? The whistle's presence suggests Nate hid, but from what? Carver questions PineCo's Jim Tate again, who worked under Hale. Jim, nervous, admits seeing Skinner near Blackwood in '81, driving a PineCo truck. He carried a knife, Jim says. Said David was trouble. Carver's theory grows. Hale, enraged by David's resistance, sent Skinner to handle him. Nate, caught in the crossfire, left clues, the knife, the note, fighting to be found. The fire might have burned evidence, but the ravine holds more. As part 2 ends, a bombshell drops. A 1994 hiker finds a rusted rifle in the ravine, its stock engraved with DR. It's David's, but the barrel's bent, as if struck. Blood. Traces too old for DNA stain the wood. Carver's heart pounds. Was David attacked, or did he fight back? The forest's secrets stir, pulling us deeper. A rifle, bent and bloodied, lies in Blackwood's ravine, a father's last stand. But who struck the blow, and what did Nate see that night? The rusted rifle, engraved with DR and found in Blackwood's ravine in 1994, is a jagged piece of the puzzle in David and Nate Reed's 1981 disappearance. Sheriff Tom Carver, now obsessed, sees the bent barrel and bloodstains as proof of violence, not a bear attack. The Maine forest, with its choking pines and hidden hollows, guards the truth about that October night. Nate's knife, carved with "Not lost," the dad's hurt note, and the fire witnessed by Ray Cobb point to a human hand, possibly PineCo's Victor Hale or his fixer, Skinner, Frank Ellis. The land dispute, a wound in the town's heart, festers. Carver's question burns. Did Nate witness David's fate, and is he still out there, waiting? Carver sends the rifle to forensics, but 1994 tech yields little. The blood's degraded, the damage inconclusive. A faint oil smudge, like the flannels, nags him. He revisits the ravine where the rifle lay near Nate's safe spot. A volunteer finds a child's mitten, blue and red, buried in mud. Ellen Reed confirms it's Nate's, her hope a dying ember. The mitten's proximity to the rifle suggests Nate was there, perhaps hiding as chaos erupted. Carver pictures a struggle, David, Nate, and an attacker, but the scene shifts like fog. He hunts Skinner's trail, tracking Frank Ellis's sister, Lila Morse, in Bangor. Lila, a chain-smoking bartender, says Frank's dead, killed in a 1982 bar fight. He was mean, she says, eyes hard. Worked for Hale, did bad things. Lila recalls Frank returning in '81, flush with cash, muttering about cleaning up a mess in Blackwood. He had a burn scar on his arm, possibly from a fire. Carver connects it to Ray Cobb's story, the fire near the ravine. Lila gives him Frank's old lighter, engraved F.E., its oil scent sharp. Was Frank burning evidence that night? Carver re-interviews Ray Cobb, pressing for fire details. Ray recalls a second pickup, not PineCo's, near the ravine, its engine idling. Heard a kid's voice, Ray says, voice trembling. Soft, scared. Was it Nate, crying out? Ray saw a man toss a bag into the flames. Maybe clothes, maybe worse. Carver searches old PineCo records, finding a 1981 truck leased to a F. Ellis. The pieces fit. Skinner, hired by Hale, was in Blackwood, possibly with another man, erasing David and Nate's traces. Ellen shares a new clue. David's hunting log, hidden in his cabin. It details Blackwood trips, ending with an October 1981 note. Saw tracks, not animal. Hale's men. David suspected surveillance. A crude sketch shows a clearing near the ravine, marked, "Watch out." Carver searches it, finding a buried tin can with a Polaroid. David and Nate smiling, dated October 16, 1981, the day before they vanished. The back reads, Nate's first hunt. The photo's joy contrasts with the rifle's violence, tearing at Carver. Was it buried to preserve or hide? A new witness, Clara Holt, a 1981 gas station clerk, contacts Carver. She saw David and Nate on October 17th buying jerky. A man watched them, Clara says, voice low. Tall, scarred arm, burned like. She describes Skinner, driving a black pickup, not PineCo's. Clara overheard him on a payphone saying, "They're at the ridge." Carver's blood chills. The ridge is near the ravine. Was Skinner stalking them, reporting to Hale? Carver's theory sharpens. Hale, furious at David's defiance, hired Skinner to ambush him. David, armed and wary, fought, damaging his rifle. Nate, hiding, saw it all, leaving the knife and note as cries for help. The fire burned evidence, gear, blood, maybe David's body. But Nate's fate, escaped or silenced, remains unclear. The mitten suggests he fled, but to where? As part 3 ends, a hiker finds a shallow grave near the ravine, holding a child's bone, too small for David's. A whistle, like Nate's, lies nearby, its plastic cracked. Carver's world tilts. Is this Nate, or another victim of Blackwood's hunger? The bone's age test looms, and the mystery spirals toward a heart-stopping truth. A child's bone lies in Blackwood's grave, a whistle cracked beside it. Is this Nate's end, or a deeper lie buried in the forest's heart? The shallow grave near Blackwood Forest's ravine, uncovered in 1994, sends a chill through Sheriff Tom Carver's bones. The child's bone and Nate Reed's whistle, found 13 years after he and his father, David, vanished in 1981, feel like a final answer. Yet the mystery of their disappearance only deepens. Maine's wilderness, with its gnarled pines and hidden hollows, has yielded clues. Nate's knife engraved, not lost. David's bent rifle, a fire seen burning that night, and the shadow of PineCo's Victor Hale and his fixer, Frank Skinner, Ellis. The land dispute that pitted David against Hale's logging empire looms large, but the bone's discovery, small, fragile, near Nate's whistle, threatens to rewrite the story. Carver, graying and relentless, stands at the ravine's edge, wondering, is this Nate, or has Blackwood claimed another soul? Forensics tests the bone, a slow process in 1994. Early results stun Carver. It's older than Nate, likely from the 1970s, predating the Reed's disappearance. The whistle, though, is Nate's. Ellen Reed confirms it's red plastic, a gift from David. How did it end up in a grave with an unrelated bone? Carver's mind races. Someone used the grave to hide evidence, or to mislead. The bone's age points to an earlier crime, possibly tied to PineCo, whose logging camps dotted Blackwood in the 70s. Carver digs into old missing persons cases, finding a 1976 report of a boy, Timmy Wells, 9, vanished near Blackwood. Timmy's case went cold, but PineCo was logging nearby. Is the grave Timmy's, and did Nate stumble into a killer's lair? Carver interviews Ellen, who's shaken by the whistle. Nate wouldn't leave it, she says, clutching his sketchbook. She recalls David's distrust of PineCo, saying Hale's men trailed him in 81. Ellen shares a letter David wrote her, never mailed, found in his cabin. If I'm gone, check the ridge. Hale's hiding something. The ridge, near the ravine, is where Clara Holt saw Skinner watching David and Nate. Carver searches it, finding a rusted PineCo fuel can, its oil scent matching the flannel scrap smudge. Nearby, a buried leather pouch holds a child's drawing, Nate's, showing a shack with "Hide here" scrawled. The shack's location, deep in Blackwood, isn't on any map. A new witness emerges, Hank Poole, a former PineCo driver, now 62, living in a trailer park. Hank, chain-smoking, admits seeing Skinner in 82 with a boy, small, scared like Nate, near a PineCo shed. Skinner said he was fixing a problem, Hank whispers, eyes darting. Hank didn't report it, fearing Hale's wrath. He describes the shed, near Blackwood's old logging camp, where Skinner stored private stuff. Carver raids the shed, now abandoned, finding Nate's backpack, its straps torn, inside a locked crate. A map inside, drawn in crayon, marks the shack from Nate's drawing, with Dad's gone in shaky ink. Carver's heart sinks. Nate was alive, but alone. He visits the shack, a rotting structure hidden by pines. Inside, the air is stale, the floorboards loose. Under one, Carver finds a locked tin box engraved with DR. It's heavy, sealed tight. Forensics pry it open, revealing David's hunting license, a blood-stained bandana, and a note in David's hand. Hale's men came. Protect Nate. The bandana's blood, too old for DNA, matches the rifle's stains. Carver's theory hardens. Skinner, sent by Hale, attacked David at the ravine, injuring him. Nate, hiding, left clues, the knife, whistle, map, hoping to be found. But the older bone suggests Blackwood's secrets predate the Reeds, tying Hale to a pattern of violence. Carver confronts Victor Hale, now frail but defiant, at his mansion. "What's in Blackwood, Victor?" Carver demands, showing the box. Hale's eyes flicker. "Old bones mean nothing," he snarls, but his hands shake. Carver presses. "Skinner killed for you, didn't he?" Hale slams his cane, silent. A maid, overhearing, slips Carver a 1981 PineCo ledger, stolen from Hale's office. It lists payments to F.E., Frank Ellis, for cleanup. The dates align with the Reed's disappearance. Carver's blood boils. Hale orchestrated it all. Ellen visits the shack, tracing Nate's map, her hope fading. "He's out there," she whispers, holding the whistle. Carver feels her pain, a fire driving him. He plans to test the bandana's stains, praying for a breakthrough. As Part 4 ends, a bombshell lands. A 1994 hermit living near Blackwood reports seeing a young man, mid-20s, with Nate's hazel eyes, carving NR on a tree. Is Nate alive, or is this the forest's final trick? The truth beckons, one step away. A young man carves NR in Blackwood's pines, a ghost from 1981. But whose blood stains the forest, and who will finally speak its truth? The hermit's sighting of a young man carving NR in Blackwood Forest in 1994 is a spark in the darkness of David and Nate Reed's 1981 disappearance. Sheriff Tom Carver, standing at the edge of Maine's wilderness, feels the case's weight, 13 years of clues, Nate's knife with not lost, David's bent rifle, the child's bone, Nate's whistle, and the tin box with David's blood-stained bandana. The land dispute with PineCo's Victor Hale and his fixer Frank Skinner Ellis points to a calculated crime, not a bear attack. The young man with Nate's hazel eyes could be the key, or a cruel mirage. Carver, his badge heavy, chases the forest's final answer, knowing the truth will break or heal Ellen Reed's heart. Carver tracks the hermit, Amos Klein, a grizzled recluse living in a Blackwood lean-to. Amos, 70, squints at Nate's photo. "Saw him last month," he says, voice rough, skinny, quiet, carving initials on a birch near the ridge. Amos describes the man's jacket, blue like Nate's mitten, and a scar on his hand, possibly from a knife. Carver searches the birch, finding NR freshly carved with 1981 beneath it. A rusted key, half buried, lies nearby. Fits the tin box's lock, confirming Nate's presence. Carver's pulse races. Nate survived, but why hide for 13 years? Forensics retests the bandana's blood, using 1994's limited tech. It's human, likely David's, matching the rifle's stains. The child's bone, confirmed as Timmy Wells's from 1976, ties PineCo to an older crime. Carver uncovers a 1976 PineCo report of a trespasser near Timmy's last sighting, handled by Skinner. Hale's ledger, with payments to FE, covers both 1976 and 1981, suggesting a pattern. Skinner silenced threats to PineCo's empire. Carver theorizes David stumbled on Timmy's grave, making him a target. Nate, witnessing the attack, fled, leaving clues to survive. Carver follows Amos's lead to a derelict cabin near the ridge, where the young man was seen. Inside, he finds a sleeping bag, canned food, and a Polaroid. Nate, older, mid-20s, holding his knife, dated 1994. The back reads, "For Dad." A journal in Nate's handwriting details his escape. "Skinner hit Dad. I ran, hid in the shack. Kept moving, scared he'd find me." Nate writes of living in the woods, stealing food, avoiding people, haunted by David's scream. The final entry, dated 1994, reads, "Hale's still out there. I'm done hiding." Carver's throat tightens. Nate's alive, seeking justice. He confronts Victor Hale one last time, armed with the ledger and journal. In Hale's study, Carver lays out the evidence. Skinner killed David, didn't he? And Timmy Wells. Hale's face crumples, his voice a rasp. "David found the grave," he admits. "Wouldn't shut up about it. Skinner fixed it." Hale claims he only wanted David scared, not killed, but Skinner went too far. Nate escaped, a ghost Hale couldn't catch. Skinner's 1982 death, Hale says, was a bar fight, but his eyes betray fear. Did he silence Skinner too? Carver arrests Hale for conspiracy, though David's body remains lost. Ellen hears of Nate's journal, her hope reignited. Carver searches Blackwood, guided by Nate's map, finding a clearing where Nate left a final clue. A carved tree with "I lived," and a photo of David, faded but cherished. A 1994 letter arrives at Ellen's home, postmarked Bangor, with no return address. It reads, "Aunt Ellen, I'm safe. Dad's gone, but I'm free." Nate's handwriting, signed NR, brings Ellen to tears. She knows he won't return, scarred by Blackwood's horrors, but he's alive, honoring David. Carver closes the case, the forest's silence a heavy farewell. David's fight exposed Hale's crimes, saving Nate. The knife's not lost was Nate's defiance, his clues a path to truth. Hale's trial looms, PineCo's empire crumbles, and Blackwood's pines stand as witnesses. Ellen keeps Nate's letter, a fragile piece. Carver, haunted, walks the ravine, hearing Nate's whistle in the wind. Nate's survival is a testament to courage, a boy's cry echoing through time. The truth, carved in wood and blood, heals Ellen and frees a town from its shadows, reminding us some mysteries, though solved, leave scars that never fade. Thank you for joining Flicker Soul on this haunting journey. Subscribe for more true crime mysteries and share Nate's story to honor his fight.